Yeah, to start off with, I'd like to say a massive thanks to Rui, Sandra, all of the volunteers, the sponsors, and of course everyone here for being here today. I'd like to, just give a round of applause to designFAO and the fantastic community that it is. And it's such a privilege to be here with you all today. My talk is called Step Change: Insights into AI Design Careers. And so I aim to give you an insight into what it's like to work within AI as a designer, the kind of skills and experience that you might need to work in AI, and also how to build effective AI design teams. So we'll kick things off. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So ever since I was younger, I've always loved meeting new people and having conversations. And as my friends will attest to, I can talk for England. And as well as that, I've had a passion for art, music, design, and technology. And I guess this was the perfect mixture that ended up with me being a design recruiter. And over the past decade, I've had the absolute privilege of supporting hundreds of designers just like you with their careers. I've worked with leading recruitment agencies. I also worked internally at Meta, where I hired some incredible designers across Facebook, Reality Labs, WhatsApp, and Instagram. And over the past 18 months, I've been building my own design talent agency called Yet to Be. And we focus on senior IC and leadership design recruitment. And as the name suggests, we're very much interested in the future of design. And many of my clients are actually in the artificial intelligence space, which brings me on to my next slide. So why am I here? Why am I doing a talk about AI design? Well, AI, as we all know, is already having a big impact on design, and that's only going to get bigger. And I have a vested interest as a recruiter in this space in learning about it and seeing what's around the corner. And actually, I believe everyone in this room has a vested interest in understanding what the future of design holds for us. And so to understand this topic a little bit better, I conducted interviews with 20 of the world's leading AI designers. Let's try and flick through this. It's like my remote at home for the television. It just doesn't quite work. Design leaders from amazing organizations such as Apple, DeepMind, IBM. And I learned a lot about the current state of AI design. And I'm really excited to share insights about that current state as well as the future. So if anything, I hope you find something interesting. Maybe you'll learn something new, and maybe there'll even be some practical takeaways to take along with you. So let's set the AI scene, right? Very cool. It's very popular. We all know that. We look at ChatGPT, for example. It gained 1 million users in the first week. If I could just gain 1 million followers on LinkedIn one day, that would be incredible. I doubt I could get 100 followers on LinkedIn within a week. So we can see how incredibly popular it is. AI is evolving rapidly before our eyes. Moore's law stated that computers would double in power every 18 months, and now we're seeing AI models double in power every 6 months. So it's moving incredibly fast. And one of the biggest things that designers and everyone needs to wrap their heads around is the move from deterministic, graphical user interface-based systems to a probabilistic system. For example, if you ask a calculator, a deterministic system, what's 2 plus 2? Every time it's going to give you the answer 4. Very demure, very mindful. But if you ask ChatGPT, what's 2 plus 2? You might get the answer of a 4-cheese pizza recipe. The point that I'm making is that a probabilistic system is exactly that. It's unpredictable. It's based on probabilities. And this brings up many challenges for designers. So 2024, in my opinion, the year of Brat Summer, but also the year of multimodal AI. And AI can now produce and understand images, text, audio, and video. And one of my particular favorite images that it produced recently is this one of Tom Hanks on acid. It's not something I'd like to find in my local supermarket. And talking of acid, if you stepped into this rave where everyone looks like Gordon Ramsay, I think you'd find yourself on a pretty bad trip. Just great, isn't it? So what's the next frontier? Well, you've probably seen a lot about this in the press recently. AI agents are the next big thing. And when we talk about AI agents, we're talking about a move from mainly chatbot-based content generation to AI or Gen AI-enabled agents which use complex multi-step workflows to execute on your behalf in a digital world. And as McKinsey recently put it, technology is moving from thought to action. So to help us understand how this disrupts and affects our jobs as designers, I recently spoke to Govind, who's a founder of an AI journalistic startup backed by Culture Ventures called Rio. And Govind used a really interesting analogy. He said, AI agents are a bit like Tamagotchis. In my opinion, not quite as cute, but there's a lot of similarities. Like a Tamagotchi, AI agents require ongoing interaction and care. And as well as that, AI agents are proactive in their nature. A Tamagotchi might ask you for food, for example, whereas an AI agent can proactively prompt you without having any user input. And they're context aware, so they understand your user behavior, they understand your preferences and the virtual context in which they live, right? And probably a controversial one, AI agents can have personalities too, right? They can be fun. You can take them shopping with you. No, not that far, but AI agents can have personalities, and this is obviously an ethical question that we need to look at and discuss, but perhaps that's for another day. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is this disrupts the usual user flow of a designer. And so this is something that affects the skill set that we might require in the AI design space. So moving on, we can also look at AI design, and particularly agentic AI design, through the lens of game design. I recently spoke with Jason DePero, design leader at Frog, and he's also the author of Fast Principles, which is a fantastic AI design newsletter that you should all check out. And he said, just like games, AI agents, they have unpredictable interactions with their users and unpredictable scenarios. And anyone that's used a game before, like Grand Theft Auto, can attest to this, right? Unpredictable and weird things happen, and users like to go on their own journey. And we can learn a lot from this. We can learn about how to fail elegantly. We all get frustrated with chatbots when they don't give us the answers that we want. And sometimes the way that this interacts with us is not very elegant or graceful at all. And with an AI agent, just like a game, there's this element as we interact with it, and as that interaction grows, there's co-creation, co-play, collaboration. And these are all principles that we can take into designing AI products and really learn from. The Rock eats rocks at the Hard Rock Cafe. What do I mean by this? Absolutely nothing. It's just a funny slide. So I'm just going to have a sip of water. So what skills and experience do AI designers require? As a recruiter, this is a really interesting question for me because it helps me to find the best candidates for the roles that I'm recruiting for in AI. So I asked these design leaders, what are the most important skills in AI design? And we can see here the larger words. They're the themes that I'm going to speak about today. But the point is, there's no right or wrong answer to this. I think there's definitely some value in some of the answers and some of the points that I'm going to discuss. But of course, it's context dependent as well. So the seniority of the role, the product domain that you're recruiting in, and the role that you're specifically recruiting in will all have a different impact on the type of skills and experience that you need. So this is more of a generalized discussion. User-centered designers in here, can we have a hand raised? Who's in UX? Yeah? Okay, awesome. So quite a lot. You can all breathe a massive sigh of relief. AI is not going to take your jobs, don't worry. I spoke to Raymond Mancunian, who is a design leader at Cognizant, and he works a lot in the Gen AI space. And he said the best designers truly care about the why. And this goes back to user-centered design principles, leading with that agenda of empathy, understanding objectives and human needs. This is going to be core to AI, just as it is with any other design process. And AI demands a psychological lens as well. Christopher Nussel is Principal of Applied AI at IBM, is also the leader of their AI Design Guild globally, and he's a twice published author, just a bit of a baller, really, and a very, very nice guy. And he taught me a lot about why we need to think about human behavior and psychology in AI. So AI is a stochastic parrot. And if you don't know about that phrase, it essentially means that although the outputs are extremely impressive, AI doesn't really understand what it's talking about, just like a parrot doesn't understand what it's talking about, although I think that one's up for debate. And because of this impressive output, we're hardwired to detect agency in things, whether it's our pets. We anthropomorphize things and systems all of the time. And because AI is so impressive, it leads to ethical questions around us overestimating its capabilities, becoming overconfident and over-reliant on these systems. So we look at Daniel Kahneman's dual process theory, which tells us that humans have two main modes of thinking. We have type 1 thinking, which is fast, and we have type 2 thinking, which is slow, or as Chris likes to put it, fast and deep thinking. And typically when a user interacts with an AI product, they're mainly using that type 1 intuitive thinking. And as designers, we need to lead them into more of a type 2 deliberate style of thinking, right? So that they can understand the true nature and limitations of their interactions with AI. Because we know AI can be inherently biased, it's trained on a limited data set, and it's dynamic and noisy, right? So we need to train and deliver experiences which help the user along in this process. And this is Bill Gates frolicking through Windows XP wallpaper. Again, absolutely no relevance. So the next thing I'd like to talk about is system design. And system design essentially in this context means a holistic approach to designing complex interconnected systems. So why is this important? Well, I'd like to pull out this card because there's a really good quote on it. And I recently spoke to Priya Prakash, and she said to me, think of AI design like making a pizza. The base is foundational models like ChatGPT and Claude. The tasty toppings are the user interface and the sauce. Well, the sauce is the magic layer, that connection between the base and the toppings that make the pizza delicious and unique. Many designers focus on the toppings, i.e. promptings, chat UIs, etc. But the sauce, a dynamic and probabilistic layer where designers play with different LLMs and apply learnings on domain-specific use cases, that's where the real innovation happens. Customers might come for the toppings, but they stay for the magic sauce, leading to better retention. So we can see that due to the complex, layered nature of AI, I think it's fairly clear to say that designers with a systems-led approach will fare well in AI design. So, interaction design. I think this is going to be a really important frontier for AI designers to tackle. Here I spoke to Matt Jones, who was previously of the BBC, Nokia, and played a pivotal role in Google AI as well. And he's just a fantastic leader who articulates things really well. And he said, novel interactions beyond chatbots will truly unlock the value in AI. And beyond chatbots is something that I'm hearing a lot of at the moment. We're all getting a bit sick and tired of speaking to a chat thread, right? It's just getting a little bit dull. And so interaction design can really elevate this technology and take it into a usable, fun, and interactive experience. So actually earlier this week, I was on LinkedIn and I saw the launch of a brand new AI product called Cove AI. And I just thought I'd share it here before because it illustrates a lot about what I'm talking on. It's a shared workspace where you can make plans for buying a house, research, whatever you want. And you'll see here they even point out that Cove is not a chatbot, so we're moving away from that. It's a shared workspace. So they even use the word multiplayer, and you'll see it here. This is about taking things out of the chatbot and putting it into a shared workspace and having a multiplayer editing experience with a colleague, right? This is moving away from simple chatbot interaction and taking us more into a collaborative, almost game-like experience. So these are fundamental things that designers need to think about when developing interaction design for AI products. So hopefully that demonstrates the point around interaction design. Technical literacy. God, this is a fun topic, isn't it? It's probably the one that designers are maybe the most afraid of or don't like to speak about. I'd like to see a raise of hands for everyone here that's a designer. I'd assume a lot of us, right? Keep the hands up if you will. Now, if you could keep your hand up if you're a designer who also codes. Okay. Well, that's actually quite a decent amount. I reckon there's maybe about 5 to 10% there. Look, it's more than I expected, if I'm honest. I think designers and engineers, they do have different skill sets, you know. There's different parts of the brain that's being used. But the point that I'd like to make today is that AI is very complex in its nature. And the lines between engineer and designers through the advent of no-code tools is going to get further and further blurred. And so rather than use the word technical skills and coding skills, I'd like to talk about technical literacy. And I spoke to an incredible founder, Gisela. She runs an AI startup called Blue Charm. She was previously head of UX at KPMG. And she loves experimenting with new tools and no-code AI tools. And she just loves learning about data and understanding the foundational basis of models that she's working with. And it's this understanding and holistic approach to her work that enables innovation. If we stay on the front end of things, the user interface side of things, then we're not going to be able to truly innovate, I believe. So yeah, moving on, ethics. It's a really, really important part of the conversation. So I spoke to Giulio Frigeri. He's an AI ethics expert. He's been working in this space for 10 to 20 years, so before Gen AI came along. And he says there can be no profitability without responsibility in AI. And I kind of agree with him. He mentioned a really interesting example about Google Bard. So when they first launched Google Bard, which is now Gemini, on the demonstration, they actually got a question wrong about the James Webb Telescope. And the day after that, they lost $100 billion off of their share value. Right? So we can see how this can have a massive impact on the bottom line and that companies do need to take it seriously. And designers can be that bridge between the user and advocating for the user and the technologist, right? So I feel like designers have a really important role to play in ethics. So moving on, we've got a scene here from Barbenheimer. Or I prefer to use the phrase Barbstein. It happens to be my surname as well, Barber. Didn't think about that, but anyway. So collaboration. Collaboration is so important in design in general, right? In technology. But from the conversations that I've been having, it seems that collaboration in AI is extremely important. The teams that I speak to, the teams that I hire to, they're often a lot leaner than your traditional digital product teams. And so they're kind of a lot more collaborative. Think of them more like a Formula One team as opposed to a mass market assembly line for a Ford, for example. And I spoke to Tay, who's head of design for McKinsey, specifically in Gen AI. He's got a team of 200 designers. He's a fantastic leader. And he spoke to me about how he has interaction designers working in a non-client facing way where they're just enabled to experiment and think big on projects. But the most important thing is that those interaction designers sit in a team with data, machine learning, AI, product engineering, and they sit extremely closely and collaborate. And this is going to be a theme in AI design. The teams will become smaller, the lines between roles will blur, and the value truly comes from working closely with cross-functional partners. So, we're on to the kind of last section of the presentation now. How can we build effective design teams? Well, there's a few factors that we need to consider. As we've already mentioned, AI is trained on a limited data set, and this means there are inherent biases. So building a diverse team with diverse perspectives is incredibly important in any space, but even more so in AI. And as I've kind of briefly touched on, we need to build teams that have a mix of polymaths, so people that think broadly, and specialists who have deep experience in specific domains. We need to look at transferable skills over experience. When I have clients that ask me for candidates with a year or two's AI experience, I'm like, well, there aren't many of them out there. This is a nascent space, right? So let's look at things like games designers, for example, maybe service designers. These are the kind of broad thinkers, but also specialist people like ethics experts. Or maybe we could even look at like engineers who work on safety critical systems to focus on how we build responsible AI. And we should value mindset and attitude, so the ability to adapt, collaborate, and those people with a strong user focus are going to be successful in this space. And creating a culture for AI design to thrive is extremely important as well. So we need to encourage cross-functional partnerships. We need to enable experimentation, and for that to happen, we need to create a safe space for failure and for people to ask questions and get them wrong. And we need to prioritize continuous learning in this space that is moving so quickly. So just to wrap things up, generative AI design is a nascent and new space, but the core principles of user-centered design remain true. And those who choose to design in AI may require a slightly different skill set. It won't be for everyone. Design plays the crucial role in bridging technology and the human experience. And I believe that in the advent of AI, good design and user experiences will be needed more than ever. So long live design, and thank you for listening.